Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donnelly Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. We are here every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. on AM 560, the radio. I am Susan, and Randy, my partner at Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, is on location today at the Show of Shows in Louisville, Kentucky. Are you out there, Randy?
Boy, I sure am, Susan. It's quite an event.
Tell us about the show. How many people are there?
Oh, thousands. Absolutely thousands and thousands of people. But, you know, Donnelly Auctions goes to shows like this all over the United States. We're set up at all kinds of different shows so that we can promote our upcoming auctions and promote the merchandise that we can sign for people.
Well, tell them.
I've got all kinds of items that I'm showing off now for our next big military auction coming up in May.
Well, tell them what this show is all about. What kind of show is it, and what kind of items did you bring?
Well, the Show of Shows is in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's the holy grail of shows for military collectors throughout the world. People fly in. I just was talking to a gentleman here that flew in from Germany, and he came here, you know, just to purchase. And in fact, he was at my table looking at a military bust that we have coming up in an auction of Der Fuhrer.
Wow!
So it's just absolutely an event, crazy, wild,
show,
a lot of fun.
Not to miss, that's for sure. And do they only hold that once a year?
No, I think it's twice a year.
Is it twice a year?
But,
okay.
But again, we come here all the time, again, to promote for Donnelly Auctions and, you know, to promote what our consigners have for sale.
That's right. Our next firearms and military auction is coming up in the middle of May. So this is a perfect time for you to be down there promoting our next military auction, letting everyone know if they have anything to consign. Now's the time.
But, you know, we just finished one. If everybody who listened to us last week knows that last Saturday and Sunday we had a gun and military auction. And I just wanted to tout the success of that auction. I mean, we had items that sold for way over what people anticipated. There was a lady who consigned a Winchester rifle to us that she was, hoping for in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. It sold for $10,000.
Sold for $10,000. I think she's very happy about that.
There was a dealer who had a dagger that, he knows his daggers. So he did have a reserve price on it. He had a reserve of $1,800 on it. And, in fact, it sold for $4,200. And I think that's leaving the United States. I think that's going abroad.
I think you're right. And then we also had a Colt, the first generation revolver, that sold for $6,000. So, again, not only military items, but firearms are selling really well right now. But back to the show real quick, Randy. I had a quick question. How many women are at that show? I'm just curious.
Many, this is where all the guys come to buy and hide what they're doing.
Oh my gosh!
They don't want their wives to know what they're spending on this stuff.
I kind of figured that. So my single girlfriends, you guys should get in the car and head down to Louisville. You would definitely be a minority. And who doesn't want a patriot or someone who's going to defend our country and who's interested in history and firearms? That's the place to be, girls, not at Home Depot. Get down to Louisville.
But Susan, honestly, I think the clientele here, looking at a beautiful, intelligent lady or looking at a World War I Marine uniform, the uniform's probably going to win out. So that might not be good for your girlfriends. Right.
Okay. It would be a good distraction for them anyway. That's for sure. Or, another way to meet these people who all have something in common is to bring a guy to one of our auctions. So, ladies, you need a date night? Come to one of our firearms auctions like your daughter Shauna did last weekend. She brought a man friend, very nice guy. He was so excited to be there, wasn't he? He got some great items. He said he'll be back in 3 months in the May auction, so I guess Shauna has a chance for the next couple of months.
Yeah. And speaking of the May auction, Susan, we are, like I say, today already, we're here promoting our next auction. Right now, if people have items, it's not too soon to consign. We need these phone calls, and it's one good item or an entire collection. If you have an entire collection in a house to sell, and we're not just talking guns and military, but all types of different antiques, we sell it all. And it's never too early to make that call, at least for an estimate or an appraisal.
That's right.
This week.
Very easy to do. Very easy to do. We'll talk about that coming up in the show about how to consign with us. Mainly, we need to see photos. Just a few photos would be great. They can be emailed to us at donleyauctions@outlook.com. You can text them to Randy's phone, but give us a call and we can give you that number. Our phone number is 815-923-7000. We'll be happy to send you in the right direction and hopefully make your collection fit in your wallet. Right? So some of the things we're going to be talking about in this show, Randy, I want to kind of focus on edged weapons because I understand we have a guest at the show that you're going to introduce here in a few minutes for our next segment, who is one of our consultants in the edged weapons industry. You
never know who you're running into at a show like this. I was really surprised. I did not know he was going to be here, so I've asked him to join us on the air today, and we'll talk a little bit about edged weapons and so on.
That's great because. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say because a lot of the edged weapons that he has described and evaluated for us in the past have sold very well in our past military auctions. We've had some German daggers sell from anywhere from $1,000 to $1,600. There were a couple in the year 2021 that went for $2,400. So those are great items.
I said one of the daggers at our last auction, went for over $4,000. So I mean, it's not unusual. There are daggers, and this is why people have to be so careful. There are daggers that'll sell for $20,000, $30,000. I have sold a World War II admiral's dagger, a German admiral's dagger, for over $20,000. So you just have to be careful. They look just like any other naval dagger, which would only sell for $1,000. So if you're not letting us look at it, you could be making some big mistakes.
That's right. And again, the importance of the provenance with that is probably what made that sell for so much. And if any engraving or capture papers, right, Randy, those types of things are critical when you do have a dagger or sword.
Absolutely. As we walk around the show today, people are always interested in what is the provenance? What is the provenance? Tell me the story. They all want the story with the item. It's most important to keep the history. And, you can create your own provenance if somebody told you, if your father told you, your uncle told you, somebody told you how they acquired it. It's not too late to type that up and get that provenance started. The chain has to start somewhere.
That's right. And like I said, if you do have one item or an entire collection, give us a call at 815-923-7000. Send us some photos. Tell us what your story is. We'll be happy to give you some information and see if we can get it in an auction for you. Our next gun and military auction coming up May 19th, I believe. It's a Saturday and Sunday, 19th and 20th or 20th and 21st. I don't know. Coming up, though. So now is the time to get your information together and get it to us. We're going to be talking to Randy live at the Show of Shows today in Louisville, Kentucky. We have a special guest coming up next. Our focus today is going to be on edged weapons. So we're going to talk about daggers and swords. I even have a little Swiss Army knife trivia question for you, so stay tuned on that. Randy, anything else you want to add here real quick before we get into our next segment?
I do, and that is I want to remind everybody that we will pick items up also. On the way home, I'm stopping in Indiana to pick up a large knife collection from a lady who called, and she followed the rules. She sent us an email, then followed that up with photographs, and we made the call and set the time. And like I say, now she's getting free shipping all the way from Indiana because we just happened to be out here in Louisville today. That's
right. It was good timing. Well, stand by, Randy. We'll talk to you again in the next segment. Don't go anywhere, everyone. Again, give us a call at 815-923-7000. We are Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago. Not that far. We'd love for you to come out and see us sometime. Randy's going to have a guest coming up next. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I am one of the co-owners of Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois. And Randy, my partner, is on location today at the Show of Shows in Louisville, Kentucky. How are you out there, Randy?
Hey, that I am. I'll tell you, what a turnout.
Is it really the Show of Shows, huh?
Without a doubt, Susan, and that's why Donnelly Auctions shows up at places like this to promote our consigners' merchandise. We're here not to sell outright. We're here to promote our next auctions so that all these thousands of dealers, they get to see the merchandise. They get to know when the next auction is. They pick up flyers and literature and everything. And it's what we do for our consigners on a regular basis.
And they get to meet you in person.
Always.
Which is a good thing, too.
I'm always out there.
Well, I understand you met a friend of ours who's at the show. Our special...
can't believe it. I walked in the door, and Ron Garrity is standing here with a big smile on his face.
That's right. Hi, Ron. Ron is a consultant with us at Donnelly Auctions, and we bring him in every now and then to help us evaluate and describe edged weapons. Hey, Ron, you there?
Hello, Susan. I am here.
Hi.
Thanks.
Nice to hear you anyway.
Yeah, nice to see me. I wish.
I can imagine what you look like right now. Ron, Tell us a little bit about your background and how you know so much about swords, daggers, knives, everything.
Well, first of all, my wife says I'm a know-it-all, so that's the first part of that.
Well, there you go.
I've been collecting mostly bayonets for, oh my God, it's going to be about 55 years now. So I know I don't sound that old, but yes, I am that old. And I actually started buying my first bayonet back in 1964 at a war surplus store. So started with one and sitting somewhere around 12 or 1,300 of them now in my collection. So
wow.
So I have a few.
You know a little bit about daggers and bayonets.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's sort of a Renaissance man for edged weapons. So
and
it's funny. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say. I was just asking what you were doing at the show.
Well, I've been setting up with a partner here for the last 10 years. We get to be regulars and do some buying and selling while I'm here. In fact, just before I got online, I bought something that I needed badly for my collection. Actually, I need nothing for my collection, but sometimes you just can't resist.
I can imagine. And you've been buying from us for many years as well. How's your experience been as a buyer at an auction, specifically Donnelly Auctions?
Funny, before I got involved in helping out and identifying things for you, I was a buyer. I'd come to the auction, and not that you guys are in Union. I live a little closer to the city, but worth the trip. And it's funny. We started out with just people live, but now because of the internet, obviously you've expanded your marketplace. But I still like to show up because you get free lunches. That's the best part of going there.
We have the best pizza and beer, huh?
Yes, you do.
That's
Don't tell everybody beer; you'll have the wrong kind of people. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's an all-day affair, and I know you switch auctioneers back and forth, so you still have fresh voices. But yeah, I hate to say it, but I get some really good bargains. I don't want you to think that I'm only there for bargains, but I love going to the auction myself. And there's actually a group of my friends that actually show up at the auction. And I know you just don't do military auctions. I know you do other kind of auctions too.
That's right. And
but to that point, Ron, you are also, I mean, you've been a consigner on many occasions with us too. You put items in the auction.
Yeah, and when I get a little older, there might be a bigger collection to go in the auction. You never know.
Right. And that's the beauty of an auction is it benefits both the consigner and the buyer. So you never know how things are going to go. That's what we love about them. Well,
I like your auctions on my end. I love your auctions because things are presented the right way. I mean, you've got great descriptions on them. People have an opportunity to come in and see them the night before, 2 days before, so you can look at everything in person. So, there's a real advantage there to get to look at the things.
Great. Well, thank you for that. But, I'm wondering if we have any new collectors out there. What advice do you give someone who's just getting started?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Anything they should be looking for?
It's a good one, though. You know what? It's like buy quality. Buy quality.
Buy quality.
Yeah. And even now, because I'll see something I like, I need nothing, but I see something I like, and I pay too much for it because I just got to have it. And I had a friend tell me one time, he says, I didn't pay too much, I just bought it too soon. Because, I mean, the price of these kind of things, the value in a good piece it'll always be there.
Well, and Ron hit this right on target, and that is, there's so many people that buy quantity, because stuff is just cheap rather than quality. And that's all, items like that, the real cheap low-end merchandise just never really goes up in value. It's not a good investment. If you want to make an investment, always buy, top end. However, I say this all the time, buy what you like and you'll never go wrong. If you like looking at it, if you enjoy it, and it's something you just have a fun owning, it doesn't really matter value-wise because it'll always be a good investment if you like looking at it.
That's right. And, with Ron and Randy, both are, know their military items. If you have anything that you are questioning or just don't know, let us know. Give us a call at 815-923-7000, or you can email us at Donley Auctions with an S at outlook.com with some photos, and Randy and or Ron will definitely take a look and see what you have.
Now, Susan, real quick, when Ron said that when he was a kid, he was shopping at a surplus store, it turns out that back in the 60s as a kid, I was actually shopping at that same surplus store. I mean, we didn't know each other way back then, but in all likelihood, as kids, we were probably in that store at the same time.
Probably. Were you guys just
and here we are now at the Show of Shows in Louisville.
Wow. You've known each other a long time.
Yep.
What else is...
I'm wondering if you're talking about Stark's Warehouse.
You got it.
On Harlem Avenue, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Our old stomping grounds.
What else is happening at the show? Is there anything you are walking past there that's of interest you want to tell us about? What do you see?
Yep. I was just showing Ron as we're walking. Right now, you probably hear background noise because we're walking up and down the aisles. We just saw a crate that a GI sent home where he had taken a Mauser rifle all apart and fitted in this small little wooden crate and even cut the stock in half to make this fit in the crate. But all the, again, provenance is there. The man who brought it home, the family's name. I mean, even parts of his uniform go along with this piece. And what an unbelievable display item. And then walking a little bit further down, I'm looking at a World War I uniform, an aviator uniform in a hot air balloon basket. It's a hot air balloon uniform, scarce as hen's teeth. Really, really neat. But that's, again, why we come to these shows to promote our customers' consignments, because this is where we find the international buyers. People say to us all the time, oh, how do you find these people in Switzerland and Germany and Beijing and everything? because they come to these international events. That's why we have to be there. Or here, rather.
That's right. Well, the show is this weekend, right? So is it taking place Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday, right?
Okay.
As we speak. But not that people are going to run down here, but I'm here promoting our May auction. We've got a great May auction. So if people have relics that they want to get in this auction, it's not too soon. They need to call us now, because we've, again, got just a fabulous auction lined up for May. And we're even here picking up consignments. We are working right now on a tail section of a World War II German aircraft the gentleman is wanting to consign with us. So that's, again,
Wonderful.
Another reason we're here. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Let me wrap up here. I do know that we had a couple buyers at our auction last weekend who asked if you could bring those items with you to the Show of Shows. So have you met them yet? Have you seen them to drop off their items yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But Susan, one more thing I wanted to point out. We sold a American General's uniform in one of our last auctions for $30,000, and we actually met the gentleman who ended up buying it here at the Show of Shows.
Wow.
Again, that's why we're here.
Can we talk about that one in the next segment? I want to hear more about that. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I am co-owner of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, and my partner Randy Donley is at the Show of Shows in Louisville, Kentucky. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Susan.
Everything going good at the show today?
Oh, it is. In our last segment, we were just talking about a uniform that we sold, an American General's uniform that we sold for $30,000. And I can't believe the timing of this, but it's 100% true. The gentleman who consigned it to us just walked by me and said, "Hey, Randy, I've got more stuff I got to talk to you about." Now, he's here at the Show of Shows, but he's not selling it here. He's sending it to our auction.
Wow.
So, that says a lot about the auction world. If you sell items outright, you're, sometimes playing the best guessing game. You can guess all you want what the prices are, but when you sell at auction, regardless of whose auction or where, when you sell at auction, you're opening it up to the whole world, and you don't know why, two different people, it always takes two to raise a price, but you don't know what the reasons are that they want it. And many, many, many times they'll pay way more than retail for reasons that, again, you can't imagine, but they want it now, and they're willing to pay for it. So
that's right. And with our May auction coming up, firearms, ammunition, military memorabilia, tell us a little bit about what specifically we are looking for to consign. Because as you know, middle of May, believe it or not, folks, is right around the corner. And we like to get our auctions promoted and online a month in advance. So we're looking at mid-April already.
Well,
so now's
the minimum
time.
Of because
minimum.
I actually have items here right now that are in the May auction, and that's what I'm doing, promoting these items here at the auction. We have a fabulous grouping that actually came to us originally from Hampshire, Illinois, and that is a Spanish-American War uniform. Well, that actually charged up San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt. It's just an incredible piece. A jacket and hat. It's named to the individual. So there we go with provenance again. Mm-hmm. We know who wore it, and we have pictures of him actually in his uniform and so on. It's just a great grouping. And then we've got another grouping that came to us from Evanston, Illinois, which was Colonel Edward Davis. I think we may have talked about him already, but Colonel Davis was actually the only American that Lawrence of Arabia would talk to. And our Colonel Davis, who has this great grouping that we're going to be selling, actually introduced Lawrence of Arabia to Lowell Thomas, who wrote the famous With Lawrence in Arabia, or we wouldn't even know who Lawrence of Arabia is without this very famous Colonel Davis, right from Evanston, Illinois.
That's
the
right.
family years ago still had this, and we'll be auctioning that off in May.
And there's a display in the Donley's Wild West Town Museum regarding that as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we're going to be actually selling the entire display, so everything goes along with it. All the medals and his pistol, his boots. I mean, it'll all go as one group. So, you know, I just wanted to kind of switch gears here for a minute, if you don't mind, Susan, because I just ran into here at this auction or at this show. I just ran into a gentleman. You never know what you're going to see at the show. There's a stock ticker here.
Oh, come on.
An
Really?
Edison stock ticker. Why is it here?
Right.
Who knows? But
We love our stock tickers.
It's a perfect lead-in because how many stock tickers do we sell at Donley Auctions? And I'm so happy to mention that right now because all over the Chicago area, there are stock tickers in in basements and rec rooms and everything, because when the computers came into service, the stock exchange actually gave away all these old primitive stock tickers to brokers and people who worked in the firms and everything as gifts and retirement gifts and everything. So they're all over the Chicago area. If you have a stock ticker at home and want to sell it, our April auction coming up is the perfect venue for that.
That's right.
Oh man, invention and technology and architecture and bars and back bars, signs. I mean, April is just such a great venue. But if you have a stock ticker at home, again, let me appraise it for you. Well, let me evaluate it for you, so you know what you have. I mean, they go into big money nowadays.
That's right. We love our stock tickers. Perfect item for our annual Spring Classic coming up in the end of April, actually. It's 3 days, big event. Give us a call at 815-923-7000, Donley Auctions at Outlook.com if you want to send us a photo. We would just love to give you guys direction on where to go with these items. We're the place to go. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Spring Classic and some other upcoming auctions. You are listening to the Donley Auctions Hour here on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. Thanks for sticking with us during that break. I've been on the phone here with Randy Donley. He's at the Show of Shows in Louisville, Kentucky. It is the biggest militaria show in the country, is it not, Randy? How's it going out there?
It really is. You know, it's fabulous, Susan, in that I keep running into people that I have helped here.
You're so popular.
You know, I'm as I'm talking to you just a few minutes ago in the last segment, guys walking by and nodding, saying, you know, I need to talk to you, and I'm saying, you know, later. But I sold a World War II Jeep for him, so that's a good reminder for our guests that are listening today that we sell military vehicles also.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what people have at home in their garages, their houses, and there's plenty of people who have collected military vehicles over the years. And so if you have one or if you've got 50 military vehicles, we can help sell them.
That's right. I know I love small things that you can pick up and carry, but we're known for big, heavy auctions. So you got big stuff too. We can sell it for you. What else did you see at the show? You said you had walked past a booth with a jacket.
Well, yeah, and, that's why I'm so happy to be here while we're on the air, because as I see things, I can tell our listeners what to look for, that it has significant value. And flight jackets, oh my goodness, the value of leather flight jackets from World War II. It's just fabulous what history these flight jackets actually provide. But if anybody out there has a brown leather jacket, the Air Force was known as an A2. It has a leather collar, all brown leather with knitted waistband and cuffs. But the Air Force somehow allowed our pilots and flight crews to paint up their jackets with all kinds of fun graphics, whether there's airplanes on the back or bombs being dropped or actually naked ladies are painted on the back of flight jackets. I mean, it's just incredible. But our government kind of allowed this to happen as a morale issue. They did not want to stop the flight crews from doing this because their life expectancy, Susan, was so short that they didn't want to kill the morale of our fighting Air Force gentlemen and allowed them to do this. So today, these flight jackets are extremely expensive, and that's too often I hear people say, "Oh yeah, we sold it at a garage sale. We sold it, got $100 for it." No. Flight jackets are anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, depending on what's painted on it. So please, if you've got a flight jacket, send us a photo, email us, or just call me.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what you have and what my opinion of the value is.
I know a lot of families want to keep it in the family, which I do like to see because they're very sentimental. We have an employee who has one. Tell them about that one. I don't want her to put that one up for auction, actually, but tell them about the one that she's wearing. It actually fits her.
She, our graphic designer, walked in one day with a fabulous World War II flight jacket painted on the back.
Couldn't believe it.
Quad patches on the front, just gorgeous. She said, "Well, this is my grandfather's jacket." And how great. It really is a wonderful, a wonderful tribute to her grandfather that she would keep it and love it and cherish it.
That's
it really
right.
is.
That's right. I love it every time she wears it in. So we do have some specific items we're looking for the May auction. I know we've been talking about that, edged weapons. Anything else in particular, Randy, that people should be looking for? It helps to kind of narrow it down.
Well, always. We're always looking for uniforms. We're always looking for helmets, but primarily World War II or World War I, and even Vietnam, as new as Vietnam. But current uniforms, we really can't help people with. So we always advise anyone to please, again, contact us and try to help us out with photos or get us over there for a look-see. But you name it, anything in military relics, we're always looking for. And, as Ron was telling you, a bayonet, that's no joke what some of these bayonets can go for. They're no longer, $5 and $10, like Ron and I used to be able to buy at military, surplus stores and everything. Back then, we were buying stuff for a couple dollars.
Right.
Well, those same couple dollar bayonets today start at $100 and, can go up to $1,000 depending on which one. So, again, you got to be careful when you sell.
Right. We've had many Japanese swords. Is that something we should be looking for?
But, everybody knows that Japanese swords are always a treasured war trophy. And they're they show up a lot, especially in the Chicago suburbs for whatever reason. We had a large contingent of our vets, living there. And so there's still a lot of swords that show up. But Japanese swords can go into huge money.
Wow.
Again, and that's why you want to sell at an organization that sells internationally.
That's right,
You know,
and that's us.
The beauty of selling online with us is that we're showing these things all over the world.
That's right, and we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up in our next segment. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about how you can actually bid on these wonderful items Randy's been talking about during our show today. This is the Donley Auctions Hour. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to us right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. Thanks for sticking with us during that break. Randy Donley is out at the Show of Shows in Louisville, Kentucky. But I did want to say real quick that unlike Seinfeld, the show about nothing, the Donley Auctions Hour is a show about something. What do you got cooking out there at the Show of Shows in Louisville, Randy? How's everything?
Well, we're promoting away. I mean, we are really pushing for people, you know, to see what we've got coming up in these next auctions to help our consigners sell for top dollar.
That's right.
These are the kind of places that we find. You know, people say all the time, "Oh my goodness, how on earth do you find these buyers from all over? How do they find you?" Well, we go out and find them. We really work hard for our commissions. It doesn't just happen. We don't just go online and hope people find Donley Auctions. We bring Donley Auctions right to the masses. And that's
right.
Why we're out today. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. It's very rewarding when you see the prices that we achieve at an auction.
That's right. I also think people like to know who you are, get to know you, because you're not only selling this for them, you are a partner with them in their consignments. So, you know, you're getting the personal treatment here at Donley Auctions. And I want to tell you a little bit about how you can actually bid at an auction. We talk about how you can consign with us, right? Send us an email, give us a call. Pretty easy. But how do you bid? Randy's mentioned some great stuff that we have coming up, like that stock ticker. How do you bid on that? Because I can't wait to see it. Couple things.
Well, you know, again, there's just so much that we've got coming up. We need people to get to our website, you know, DonleyAuctions.com, because, you know, even like right now, as we speak, we've got an auction going on, a license plate auction that people could be bidding on online. It's not a live auction, but we've always got something going on. So always look at our website and see what's taking place next.
That's right. So coming up, we've got the vintage license plates, March 12th. We've got the April Spring Classic, April 28th, 29th, end of the month. And then again in May is our firearms and military auction, May 19th and 20th. But everything's going to be online. So you go to DonleyAuctions.com. It's DONLEY, DonleyAuctions.com. We'll have everything listed there. You click on the button for the catalog. We try to get them up about a month in advance so you can look at everything and do some shopping and create a wish list, right? So that's one way you can do it, is to bid online. What I always suggest, if you are within an hour from us, come on out. Come out live in person. We have a very comfortable auction gallery with tables and chairs. We have complimentary coffee and donuts and lunch for everyone, and you can bid live there. Another way to do that is if you can't be there, you can give us a call at 815-923-7000, and you can request or submit an absentee bid, which mainly means you can just put in your max bid, and we will bid on your behalf up to that amount. The third way you can bid in an auction is on the phone. And usually you'll get me on the phone, and I will bid for you as if you were live in the audience. Go ahead, Randy. What were you going to say?
Well, I want to remind everybody, since we're talking a little bit about the April auction, that we are right now taking automobiles. Don't forget that we also do cars, vintage cars, and pickup trucks, old pickup trucks from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and they don't have to run. I mean, we take vehicles in any condition.
That's right.
And a lot of these things end up even being rat-rotted or what have you, but but we can sell your vintage vehicle in any condition. Doesn't need to run.
Gotta run for now, Randy. Thanks for listening, everyone. You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour here every Saturday on AM 560, The Answer.
Thanks for listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonnellyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonnellyAuctions.com.